little Archie Clemets, Missouri Bushwacker, Civil War from 1846 to 1866. I was 15 when it happened, just as blacksmith's apprentice, with soot on my boots and ears turned toward trouble. That day the tension came before the noise. Bloody Bill Anderson was pacing, wild hair, coat flapping, eyes too bright. He looked like he hadn't slept in days, or maybe like sleep didn't want nothing to do with him. He kept talking about burning another town, tearing open Kansas like it owed him something. Every day Bloody Bill had been getting worse. He started killing the innocent on the last trip. He had raped a black servant girl, something our crew had never done before. The following day, the next afternoon, we were all still in camp shooting horses when a big group of bushwhackers rode into camp. First thing we heard, Bloody Bill Anderson was dead. He had been killed by Union soldiers, and several of them were angry, arguing about who would take over as bushwhacker captain. The arguing got louder and louder until I thought there was going to be a gunfight. But then an explosion. Boom! Everyone froze and looked. I looked as well, but it wasn't at those bushwhackers. It was at the man standing across from them, little Archie Clemets, 19 years old. He had a Colt Navy in his right hand, smoke curling out the barrel. "Hey, we don't need no fighting," he said. And we all felt it, the drop in pressure, the stillness that meant something was about to crack. "You all done squabbling?" he said, looking at the men. Nobody moved. "Well," he said, "you can ride with me or you can get out." And that was all he said. Archie holstered his Colt and walked away. He'd been leading men twice his age for the past year. Why? Not because he asked for it, but because men followed him. That's what clarity does, and if there's anything about little Archie, he has clarity and a dirty toughness that's rare in men. He wasn't tall, 5 foot 1 inch maybe, but thick and stocky in the chest and shoulders. Like every inch of him was packed with purpose instead of air. He had a twist in his mouth. Some would call it a cruel twist. I would say it's definitely peculiar. Like he was halfway through saying something no one would understand, and his eyes, those cold gray eyes, didn't blink, they measured. And you didn't look at Archie and feel like he was waiting. You felt like he already knew. His hat was flat crowned, turned up at the brim. Archie didn't follow anyone. Archie went alone. Anyone wanted to come, they were welcome to it. If they didn't, that was all right too. Little Arch wasn't afraid of dying alone. In those rare moments that he spoke or laughed, he would prophesy his own death. He'd say, "Boys, I'm expecting to go out with an empty Colt in each hand, blood in my teeth and smiling." No one had any idea how true that prophecy would become. Wild Bill Hickok loved his pearl-handled Colt Navies. Archie wasn't a showman like Wild Bill, though. He didn't carry it for looks. He carried it because it fit, because it worked, because he didn't need the extra noise and kick. Never mind the weight of a .44. He said the extra lead was a waste, especially when a .36 caliber bullet in the right place said everything that mattered. His left-handed gun, I couldn't quite tell what it was, but it looked like an old Shawkin McClanahan. He turned to the men, voice steady. "I'm glad he's dead. I wasn't following that madman anymore. Like I said, you can ride with me or ride alone," and no one said a word. Frank James had seen it coming. Maybe even hoped for it, and he and little Arch didn't talk much, but Frank once told a boy at camp, "He sees it about 2 seconds before I do. That's why I let him lead." Cole was the voice for the rest. Kept spirits high, tempers low. He never tried to take Archie's place because he knew he didn't need to. Archie didn't command by force. He was just a force. Jesse James, he didn't like it, but he didn't fight it. Because even Jesse, burning for glory, desperate to matter, knew better than to challenge a man who wasn't trying to be anything. Archie didn't push, didn't preach. But when he looked at you, you adjusted. Part 3, Lexington. A year passed, maybe a little more, and I ended up in Lexington sweeping another blacksmith's floor. That's when I saw him again, Archie Clemets. Short, solid, walking through town like he belonged to it, like the law was some other man's concern. He walked straight into the blacksmith shop. Didn't say much, just asked to see the smithy. As he leaned against the counter and rolled a smoke, he looked straight at me when he lit it, took a long drag, and said, "I know you." And then it happened. I felt it. The air got heavier like the dirt itself knew something was about to close. And then came the shout and a clatter of hooves. "Clements! Archibald Clemets! You're surrounded. We got you dead to rights. Come out with your hands up." The smithy froze. I froze. But little Arch, he smiled. A detachment of cavalry soldiers out the small window. And I glanced over at Archie. He looked calm, maybe tired, but calm. He stretched his back, flexed his fingers, rolled his neck on his shoulders, and did a couple of slow jumps like he was warming up for a baseball game. He flicked the cigarette into the forge, adjusted the gun belt, sliding his holsters forward a little, and looking at me just for a breath, I leaned in and just caught the words. I thought it might be today. He checked his navy coat, all chambers full, then reached in a plane's draw and drew his left-handed gun. Then he walked out. He didn't move fast, just calm and deliberate, just stepped into the sun like it was any other morning. As he stepped through the door, I saw him cock back the hammer on the Colt Navy and bring it to level. And then just one more breath before I heard the fast staccato hammering of a 36 caliber Colt. The shots came fast. I didn't know how many, but I knew little Archie had fired enough. He was taking a few men with him. As fate had predicted, little Arch wouldn't die alone. And when I finally got the courage to look, there's Archie, laying in the dust. 4 bullet holes, blood pouring from his body. He had a smile on his face and was trying to cock the hammer back on his shock and McClellan with his teeth. His right hand was near missing. His left hand shot all to hell, the thumb was gone. But little Arch was smiling. I walked to the door, and sure enough, I could see 4 soldiers laying in the street. 2 were clutching the reins of their mounts in their cold, stiff hands. One was clutching his shoulder, blood pouring from a wound. He walked over to Archie and said, "You walked out that door 40 to 1 odds with those hog legs smoking. What did you think was going to happen, Archie?" He just grunted, still gasping for air, trying to get the hammer back. "Take some of you with me," he muttered. I could see it, the blood in his teeth dripping from the corners of his mouth. That peculiar twist still in his mouth, like it had always been. I can see him fighting to draw his last breath. Glancing down, I saw a small pile of brass cartridges, smoke curling upward. A small pile of brass and blood in his teeth. We all knew that little Arch was going to die that way. He died the way he said he would, coughing blood, with nothing behind him but his own spent fire and a pair of Colt revolvers, smoke wafting from the barrels, and a smile on his face. And little Arch was still a free man. Part 4, the grave. Years passed. A marker was finally put up. Simple, cold, just a name in the years. Archibald Clemets, 1846 to 1866. I wasn't the first to visit, but I go now, not to cry, not to pray, just to remember. Sometimes I leave a 36 caliber bullet there, just one sitting on top of the marker pointing toward the sky. Why? Because that's the only way I knew how to honor that fire, and Arch would have liked it that way. One more thing, I hope they bury those hog legs with him. That Colt Navy on the right, and his left-hand gun to shock him McClellan butt forward. Because when a man like little Archie enters any world, spirit world or otherwise, it wouldn't be right to leave him without his shooting irons. It would make him walk funny. One leg might come up too high, and rumor has it, hell is full of bad men and wannabe gunslingers, but not too many would want to call out little Arch. But the day will come when Lucifer, if no one else, calls him out, and a man like Archie deserves to have his iron handy and to be given a sporting chance. Written by J. Miller.